Well, hello and welcome, Aiko Bethea. We are really excited to have you as one of our keynote speakers for the SHRM Atlanta SOAHR conference. How are you today?
I am doing well and super excited to be here and so excited to be a part of the SHRM Atlanta conference.
Outstanding. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so let me think here. I am somebody who actually loves, I can start with things that I just like doing, or do you want me to just go professional with you, Teela? Which one?
Oh, no, go anyway.
We want the whole person.
We want the whole thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Teela, ask her that question again and just take it away, Aiko.
Okay. Aiko, so tell us about yourself. What are you up to these days?
All right, so I just shared with you that today will be my day into reentry after vacation. Had some great, some well-required rest time. And I'm so excited to be back in Atlanta again. I don't know if you know this, but I just returned to Atlanta last year. And so it's great to be back home. I think about Atlanta as home. And super excited to be with you all at SHRM because you are my first live engagement since 2019, I suppose, when everything shifted in the world. So mainly right now, I'm looking forward to diving back in and seeing people in person, honestly.
Well, that's great. Well, we love having you back in your home of Atlanta. And speaking of Atlanta, our conference theme this year is all about community. I know from listening to some of the podcasts you've been on, you're a real community builder. You're passionate about community. Tell me, what does it mean to you to have this great opportunity to speak in your home city of Atlanta?
So I often do not work in the same place that I live. So most of my clients are in different locations and different time zones. So for me, it's great to actually be in a place where everybody understands the same point of reference. It's also just great to be investing in your own community, quite frankly. The work is important. I think everyone understands across the spectrum. We're talking about equity work overall, but it is great to know that these are folks who are right here up the street, local businesses and communities that you're supporting. So that's important to me. And I always thought about Atlanta as being one of the places that can create a ripple effect across the nation, as we have in so many ways. As a matter of fact, I'm not wearing my sweatshirt, but I have my sweatshirt that Atlanta influences everything. And I am definitely somebody who is sold and has bought on that notion. Absolutely. But there are so many great powerhouse companies and also people who just care. There's nothing like people from the South who really care and want to make a difference.
That is so true. And so tell us a little bit about those people that are coming, that are going to care so much and really that you're getting to invest in. What is the message you're bringing for us that you can kind of stir a little excitement towards about what you're going to be speaking?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you about two things, two reasons why I think it's important for people to be here. So one doesn't actually have so much to do with what I'm talking about, but it has to do with the fact that we're all coming out of, I suppose you would say, hibernation. We've all been disconnected in so many ways. Of course, we've had Zoom, but we haven't had that community connection that many of us thrive on. And also there's just something about having hallway conversations, looking over at your neighbors, speaking to them. We have really been starved of that. And so I love that SHRM Atlanta is one of the first opportunities for people to reconnect with their professional communities. And there is, as you all know, as HR professionals, that you cannot overvalue that connection point and relationships. So I love the fact that it's happening in August and it's an opportunity for people to reconnect professionally. The other reason why I would say that it's important for people to come is about the topic and the subject matter. When we think about what's happened these last, almost 2 years now, thinking about COVID and the pandemic, it's still going on, thinking about loss and grief and change, and also thinking about just what has happened in terms of our national reckoning around race and equity. You all are as HR professionals, you're on the front lines of that. And right now, working with clients, recognizing how much burnout is happening in the HR profession. You all are dealing with not only the health benefit aspect, you're dealing with people still having professional development during this time. You're dealing with hiring that's still happening. You're dealing with even being an emotional support to employees across your organization. So for you all to reconnect and hopefully be rejuvenated will be what this is offering. And that idea of recognizing, wow, what does this mean about equity when we come back to the workplace? What is my role and how can I be inspired by it? Because a lot of what we've seen, frankly, and what we've experienced has not necessarily been inspiring. And so for you all to come together and to have community to talk with and to connect and have that support system, and really, I hope, feel at least with what I'm planning to share with you all about transactional and transformational diversity, equity, inclusion, being able to provide. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. Hard for us as HR professionals, because everyone looks at us to have all of the answers. It's a great opportunity for us to actually get the learning we need to be able to say, I don't know, can you support me? And I'm hoping that I'm able to share some knowledge or context that will help you all when you're going back into the office or as you're building more of these conversations, because it hasn't stopped. I mean, anybody who's watching the Olympics knows that it hasn't stopped and it won't. But for you to feel like you have a path forward and you feel more competent and you feel more inspired.
So let me ask you this. Can you give us a little bit of hope in these last 2 years? You said you haven't seen a lot, but give us in your business and consulting and coaching and talking with people, give us an example of a positive, something that you have seen in the things that have happened in the DEI space where you're like, this company or this leader or this team have put something in motion in context of the pandemic that was like, this was really honorable. It was really transformative. Do you have any, just tease us about what something could look like or that you've seen that was like, all right, this gives us hope for the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry if I made it sound like gloom and doom for sure.
No, I want to offer hope to people.
Absolutely. Well, the fact, okay, if we just start baseline, the fact that people are having conversations, period. I mean, regardless of if you agree or not, or if you have a different perspective, it's not that all these things have happened and now, wow, there's an issue to talk about. The issues have always been there, but we didn't talk about them. So I think that the willingness of people to lean into the conversations, and it takes courage to have those types of conversations. I think organizations being willing to invest. So are you all there?
Yeah, we lost you for a second there. So that little bit you just said, you had the first one and then it froze on us. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, let me start over a little bit here and think about what I was saying. Are you guys there? Okay, so one is the fact that people are just having these conversations. That's a great.
Well,
we're starting and there's still fear around.
Well,
maybe everybody in her resort should get off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right beside our modem here. You guys still?
Yeah.
I'm
we're
changing
still talking.
And I'm going right beside the modem.
Right.
Right.
One more. We'll do one more time on the 1, 2, the things you were just saying.
I changed the modem I'm on. I was still connected to the one downstairs. So hopefully this will work.
That should help.
Okay, let's do this one more time.
Ready, go.
All right. So let me share some positives about what's happened during the pandemic. So one is that organizations are starting to have these conversations, period, about things like equity and the role that race, gender, all these things play in the workplace. And it's not that these issues didn't exist before, it's just that we didn't have the conversations. The impact of these issues were still playing out within our workplaces, and many of us were dealing with the impacts of it, if not our whole organizations. But now, at least if we're having the conversations, whether we all agree or not, the fact that now we can address them and actually create a bit more cohesion in the workplace, right? And maybe more collaboration and connection and knowing how we show up better as leaders even. Another example of something that might be inspiring here is the fact that organizations are even investing in building this competency in their leaders, and also building more investment in employee resource groups, connecting with their communities, their consumers and customers in a different way, so that it's not one dimensional, but it's actually seeing who these communities are in a historical context even, and not just as a customer or a client. So I feel like that opportunity for greater depth and connection is there, not only among colleagues, but also between businesses and their consumers and communities that they actually serve. So there are a lot of wins, I think, that have come out of this pandemic for sure.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing those. It is exciting to see there is progress happening. The pandemic is actually acting as a catalyst for some good things in the workplace as well.
Yeah, you know what? One thing that I would be remiss if I didn't say is also, I think, increasing trust even in employees when you think about how productive employees have been working remotely and from home where they've been able to, and looking at how productivity, has not waned. And also looking at how organizations have really stepped up to serve people in different ways and spaces. I think that, there's a lot of conversation about the great resignations. I think a lot of that has to do with employees knowing more about, okay, what do I need? And oftentimes employees haven't had a chance to stop and pause and think about that. But it also gives an opportunity for organizations to think about, wow, what can we do differently to serve our employees too? And create a workplace where people want to come here. And that competition makes workplaces better.
Yeah,
it does.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Better places to be, for sure.
Absolutely, Teela.
Well, we're excited to hear your message for the conference, and thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit more about what you'll be bringing.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you all invited me. I'm super excited about being a part of the community too. Looking forward to seeing you all in person.